I'm really happy to be here, and especially I see a lot of young people who are really interested in our patience, I would say. We will not talk about our hobbies. Of course, I took a lot of notes with the previous presentations, and my part will be a little bit more about education, because my competence is really to go to the education side. As a general point, I put some different pictures which I think we like, because we have patience for dogs, of course, but on the other side it's painful. And really, when we think the general points, what we have, we face a lot of different types of dogs. Health problems we are mentioned, of course. Functional problem, which is really important, and we see also we have as a common problems for our future that the dogs have functional problems. Of course, behavior problems, which we can also understand. Because of these behavior problems, we have also problems with politicians when they are forbidden some breeds. So, of course, also the life of the dogs are changing. Also, they are getting died earlier than before, which I also get information from the market. So, who is responsible for that? If we are looking for the people who are really responsible for all these problems, maybe the breeders? I don't think so. Because we talk about the breeders, and we know they have a real important function for the breeding. So maybe the judges. Also you mentioned the judges, and I think when judges are not competent and make some wrong decisions, or even they make a right decision, so the breeder gets angry and they said, I will stop to breeding pedigree dogs, I will just breed the normal dogs. Or the dog lovers is responsible for that. Maybe the natural. I don't think so. It is the problem of position. I think the humans are the problem, because sometimes we think we love the dogs, we are impatient with dogs, but we are not. If we are honest and criticize ourselves, then I think we can move forward. And of course, if you look about the interest of the non-pedigree dogs, which some feedbacks from the market, why they are getting non-pedigree dogs. Of course, of the first stage, I can say the economic financial situation, because it's cheaper. Because they buy the dogs because it's cheap. And then, of course, it is not difficult procedure to get the dog. The ownership of the dog is very easy. We can find, and there's no papers, no asking, no other procedure to fulfill. Of course, it's fast, because if I decide to get a dog for my son, or for my wife or husband, of course, I can get easy, because there's also just to look where the dogs are available. I don't know the breeders, I don't know where I get the dogs. Of course, another problem I think is to know the pedigree awareness is not common so much. In our environment, of course, we are know, but what about the dark side of the moon? Because in that big part, I think there are a lot of people, they don't know the importance of the pedigree. Of course, interaction is very important, and the other matter which we are also seeing. And about the market, when also the FCI was starting the campaign, and Tabas Jekyll was also mentioned, the percentage of the share of the pedigree dogs, it is 7 to 20%. It is 7 to 20, it's 3 times. So even it's very difficult to measure the real market share about the pedigree dog. But what about the 80%, the rest of the pedigree? non-pedigree dogs. Are we really working on that? And what are our next targets for the future, for the next 5 years? How many non-pedigree dogs we want to requisite in our registration in the right track? So some questions which we have, and I think this is very important because how we solve our problems, and sometimes we don't want to know our problems, and this is a big problem because we don't know that somebody wants to criticize us, and it is not the way to develop ourselves. So firstly, really to solve the problems, how we can solve our problems. The second one is increasing pedigree dogs awareness in the market. This should be also a real problem for us, how we can share the market share much more in the pedigree level. So the next 5 years, I would say we are talking about 10+% about the market share. And we are really working with breeders. So do we really help the dog breeding? So can we understand the breeders really in the right track, which problems they have, and can we solve their problems? Or can we really reach the dog lovers? Because in every single street we see a lot of dog lovers. I don't call them dog owner, I'm really calling them dog lover, because even they have at home a dog or even they love a dog. For me, it is the same. So can we really reach them to explain our pedigree dogs, the importance of the pedigree dogs? Can we reach really the youngest people? Because it gives me a lot of experience when I started with the dogs as a judging professional 15 years ago. With the Turkish Kennel Club, so I need a lot of information. And it was so difficult, even we had internet, it was so difficult to reach, to collect the information, the right information, because there are a lot of information, waste information, even in the Facebook. So, and we are really based on the Facebook. We are posting good things also in the Facebook, even there are also bad things in the Facebook. So are really the right channels the social media? Of course, because we are using them, but are we using them in the right way? So can we reach really the young people? Because I'm always mentioned when I have presentations, conferences, our youth, our future. This is really my slogan, because if you want to create our future, we have to care about our youngest people. So, of course, when we are talking about experience, and in the morning I get a lot of experience from really experienced colleagues, and FCI is more or less 100 years old and with a deep knowledge, but are we sharing this knowledge worldwide, or are we keeping the knowledge in ourselves? Because sometimes I see some posts when an old judge is dying and how painful it is, and then we say some comments on that. But for me it's a meaning, even I don't know him, her, but for me is also that all knowledge is also goes. And who is collecting this knowledge? This 70 years, 80 years knowledge, are we really collecting this one? Should we allow the new beginner to make big mistakes in those days? I mean the beginner, for instance, as a breeder. Shall we really allow them to make big mistakes? Or shall we help them to make mistakes? Of course they will make mistakes, but the small mistakes, which we can compensate the mistakes. So for that point, it's really important that we have to support that. And what is the solution? And I really be happy to see more or less in all slides some points about education. I have a passion for education. I cannot say I have a passion for dogs. I really love dogs. But passion is something different, which it's a little bit much more, which we are feeling. Of course, I have passion for education. That is easy because I'm really working hardly in my professional job for education. And I think the way of education, when we are talking about education, just a simple way, education is a solution, I would say no. Why no? Of course, because we need the standard of the education. We need the way of, we need the methods of the education. We need the standardization of the education. Because we are a worldwide organization, even our partners, we have to work with the standard education if we want to help our dogs. So, what is education? It is a form of learning in which knowledge, skills, and attitude, it is included for group people that they are transferred from one generation to another generation through the teaching and training and researching ways. So this is really important. If we talk about education, we have to be known. We need knowledge, which we have knowledge. We need skills, experience, we have it. And we need also attitude. And I think when we all these three have together, we can build a real training programs. For the education program, of course, when we are talking about education, I want to see we need competence breeders. We need competence judges. We need competence women, qualified humans. Because if we are talking with breeders, of course, they have a lot of problems with their own, and they are always doing and telling the newest dog lovers how difficult it is to be a breeder. And because it is the effect of the price, and they will influence how difficult and how much time they waste, because that's why the dog is so much expensive. But only we have to know, really, we have to understand that the breeders, we can use the breeders as a mentor. The mentor has a function to the lower level, means the market level, the dog lovers. We can explain through the breeders that they can, the importance of the pedigree. Beside all this, of course, when we have a real education system, a real training programs, we have to know the importance of the education is really to make a pinpoint. I mean, of course, we see a lot of trainings program around, but what are the outcome of the trainings? We give trainings, of course, but in some part of the people are interesting of the outcome, but the other side, they are not so interesting. So it's waste of time. So efficiency also in trainings. So the young generation is really interested much more in specific point trainings. I will come later on about the trends of education. It is something different than we are known. So in this chart, as you can see, it's just a draft. The blue color, it is showing the skills matrix. I mean, for instance, if we talk about a judge or even a breeder, this type of a framework they should have in different types of subjects. So the red line is almost, when we evaluate them, we can see there are some strengths, good points, but on the other side some weakness points. So these people need much more in the weakness point training to come to the blue colors. So this is the efficiency of the education in a simple way. So if we talk about the trends in education, we have also trends. Not only the dogs has trends. When I'm talking about Yorkshire Terrier with Shih Tzu types and without nose and big eyes, everything, and they call teacup Yorkshire Terriers. So there are some trends which we know. But in education, of course, we have also trends because the young generation are learning something different. The way is different. As I mentioned here, we have four trends, of course, but we can say adaptive learning is the most important point because the event-based learning, which is also now event-based learning, we are learning and we have an event together. But if we talk about the real outcome of the trainings, so the adaptive learning methods will be much more important because it is individual for the people, so they are coming to that point which needs they need. So some points about the trends. So live stream is very important. The young generation are learning from live streams, as me as well, because it's YouTube. I don't call anymore my mother to ask her how to cook a soup. So I'm just put in the YouTube and I can make even a soup. But okay, it's not tasty like my mother's soup, but it's okay. We have also 3D printers. I don't know if you know this. It is more or less in the engineering world, but they are also using the 3D printers to understand the design and the functions. Virtual reality, of course, it's very important, which the young generation are using much more. Mobile learning, it is, but we are also a little bit enjoy to the mobile learning. This is the web-based or in our mobile technologies. Of course, we have also blended education. I will mention it all, but blended education is the model of blended education. It's related really to our patient. Why? Blended education, you are learning from the internet, but you have to make also examination as experience. You have to come to the place and you have to show what you learn. So doing, the part of the doing is very important. So we know the 3D printers, as I say, it looks like this machine. So you can see here also how it works, but I didn't find a dog, but a deer. So you can see the people are making models in the internet and you can see the animals or even the part of the machines, everything will be printed in 3D printer. So and they are really using also for the healthcare. So for the dogs, as you can see, some protests and everything they are using also for the people. So virtual reality, also they are using the new technology. Also they have these gears. And you can see with these gears the dog. And also the problem of the dog, the standards of the dog, the head of the dog, really something inside which the technology also included. So you can see here also playing a dog, but it's not for dog, it's for human, but I like it. That's why yesterday I tried to get this internet, the video from the internet. So you see also our dogs are enjoying to the new technology, not only the young generation. So this is a new method. Maybe in the future also the dog trainers will use this one, I think. Okay, also web-based training. When we are talking about web-based training, it's really an important point. Web-based training, animations, and all this message for different target groups, we have to use it. So we see as a common education provider companies really the future of web-based trainings. Why? We can reach with the web-based trainings a lot of people there. So it is a small movie about a Fifi. Yeah, the sad one, but it was a long movie, so I couldn't bring it, so the rest you can see it on the YouTube. I can share the link. But it's a nice result. They are learning from experience. So the character and attitude, it is inside. So this is a good way. So web-based training is really important because we are really reaching the people which we are never can reach them. So the dark side of the moon, they can use the web-based trainings, and with the web-based trainings we can really explain our importance for pedigree dogs. So of course if we talk education, the curriculums are very important. What I mean for curriculums, to developing curriculums. Just I want to give information and make some slides about docs, about standards. This is nothing. We will never have any success. So we really need a good curriculum with outcomes for the different target groups. I mean, do we have curriculums for kindergartens? Maybe we have to use, since in the kindergarten, to explain docs and pedigrees in a soft way. Youths as well. We need also curriculums for dog lovers, because the target groups, the importance are different than the others. And as well, the breeders. And the judges, maybe, if it's an important point, I think yes, because the judges is also, from my point, always a teacher in the ring. They should be a teacher in the ring. They should be really not criticized personally. They have to find a way to criticize the dog in a positive way. I mean, in a positive way, to don't harm the dog owner, because I'm the experienced person to show our strengths. No, we have to think that all these people are our customers. If you think about a little bit business, so it is a real easier to understand. Of course, we have to know also for the governmental issues. We have to train them as well. This is you will see how we can train them. We have to train them. This is our responsibility, and I think in that responsibility we cannot just wait, just to go there and bring a nice gift if they allow it, and to talk with them, to get friendship relation. Of course, this is working, but we need really to train this type of people, because they make the decision, and we are also influenced from that decision. So the last slide, I want to also mention, because of the learning methods, the methods of the learning. We have two methods normally. One is the active one and the passive one. I will just give one example about the passive one. The passive one is just reading. So we are sitting without voice and reading. And this is the influence what we are reading. We are learning and remembering only the 10% of that, the text. This is into 1 week. Into 1 week, what we read, we can remember only 10% of it. After 1 month later, it decrease of 3%. So to understand for long term, it is not usable only to read. So I will mention also for the practice one, the active one. So what you learn, you are also doing. This is the most important. That's why I mentioned the blended education is important, because what we are learning, we are also doing. So with that point, we are increasing to know what we are knowing. The 90% of we are keeping that. And this is really important, the way of knowledge. Because we talk about judges, experienced breeders, and all of these important persons, I would say, for our dog world. And really we have to know the way how we can transfer this knowledge to a real educational system. So just the one words about changing, and then I will thank you. I totally agree also with Mr. Wauben. Change is very important. Firstly, we have to criticize ourselves, to develop ourselves. If we are close to criticize, I think we cannot develop anymore. So the second, of course, is important to change. Not only, okay, I accept somebody is criticizing me and then it's okay. No, we have to change. We have to change because we want to create our future nicely. And it is our responsibility. For that, I say always old ways won't open new doors, so we have also changed our ways. So we have to really touch the youth people. We have to create in one side, of course, the governmental problems. In other side, of course, the young generation is very important because they are coming and they want to also face this problem. Thank you very much.